Hello my dear sewing friends, it's Fola here and you're welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial will be on how to draft a princess dart pattern. That is the connection of the armhole dart and the waist dart. If today is your first time of checking out my channel, please subscribe, click on the red subscribe button down below and also turn on the notification bell so you get notified each time I upload a new video, which I do every week. Without further ado, let's get started. I have my basic bodice pattern here. You can also check out my video on how to draft a basic bodice pattern. This is the front bodice, and I have half of my bust span measurement already ruled out. This is my chest line. This is the bust point line, and this is the waist line. Now the first thing I'll do is to measure around my armhole. Here I have 8.5 inches. Half of that, you divide it by 2. Half of that is 4 1/4 inch, and at that point you come down by 1 inch, so that is 5 1/4 inches, which is at this point, and I'll connect it to my bust point. Now for the armhole dart, I will take in 1/2 inch on both sides. You can go in as far as 3/4 inch or 1 inch, but I will do 1/2 inch on both sides. Then at the bust point, I will go up by 1 inch and connect the armhole dart. Now at this line, at the lower line here, I will extend it by 1 inch. Why am I extending it? This is in order to avoid this part getting short. That is, after cutting it and trying to join it together, whatever dart you take in here, you will extend this line by it. For example, if you took in 3/4 inch on both sides, that means you will extend this line by 1.5 inches. Then I will form another armhole. So doing this, we take care of that. This part will not be shorter. When I cut it out now, you will understand better. Now going over to the waist dart, I will also take in 1/2 inch on both sides. Now this depends on how prominent you are on the bust area or how protrude you want your bust area to look like. So you can go in as far as 3/4 inch as well, or 1 inch on both sides. Then on the bust point line, I'll come down by 1 inch. At this point as well, you can come down by 1.5 inches or 2 inches. That is just to give room for the boobs around this area. So it depends on how prominent you are on the bust area. Then I will connect my waist dart. And I'll use the armhole curve to make this part curvy, because you wouldn't want a pointed curve at that area, so it has to be curvy. Can you see? Just in like manner. Now going over to the measurements. Quarter of my bust measurement is 9 7.25 and I added 1/4 is allowance, so that is 9.5 inches. Now I took 1/2 inch on both sides, that is 1 inch, and I will need 1/2 inch on both sides to sew it together. That is also 1 inch for the seam allowance, making 2 inches, and also 1 inch side seam allowance, making 3 inches. Now 9.5 plus 3, that is 12.5 inches, which I will insert on the chest line. And also going to the waistline, quarter of my waist circumference is 7.25, and I will add 1/4 inch ease allowance, so that makes it 7.5 inches. So I took in 1/2 inch on both sides, which is 1 inch, that is 8.5 inches. 1/2 inch on both sides to join it together, that is 9.5 inches, and also 1 inch side seam allowance, that is 10.5 inches, which I will insert here. So I will connect. At this point, I will not draft out the neckline, so I will cut out. So you are not cutting out through this armhole, you are using this one now. Don't forget that. Don't forget that this part should not be pointed. So this is what I have for the front princess dart. Now had it been okay, I've not cut out this waist dart. Now this is what I have. So the extension here will make this part to align. By the time you join it, you join both sides, both the middle and the side part together, it will align with each other. If you didn't go up by whatever that you take in, it will be shorter. This part will be shorter by the time you join it together. So take note of that. Let me go to the back bodice. So this is the back bodice pattern. What I need there is just the chest line and the waist line. And I already inserted half of my bust span measurements. So the first thing I will do as well is to measure what I have around the armhole. At this point, I have 8 3/4 inches. And half of that is what I have here. Then at this point, you come down by 1/2 inch. Since I'm not taking any darts at this point, there's no need coming down by 1 inch. So 1/2 inch is okay. Then on my waist, I will take in 1/2 inch dart as well. And on the chest line, I will come down by 1 inch and connect my dart. Then you can use your hand to just connect it to this point, but I'll make use of my armhole curve. At least I'll make it easier and neater. Can you see? Then you can just extend it by 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch, either 1/4 or 1/2 inch. but I will prefer to extend it by 1/2 inch just to be on the safe side. And also form another armhole at this point. Can you see? Now let me add my measurements. Quarter of my bust measurement with 1/4 inch ease allowance is 9.5 inches. 1/2 inch to join this side together, that is 1 inch, and then 1 inch side seam allowance, that is 11.5 inches. Then for my waist measurement, quarter of my waist measurement is 7.5 inches, including 1/4 inch ease allowance. So 1/2 inch on both sides there, which is 1 inch, that is 8.5. 1/2 inch on both sides to sew it back together, which is 1 inch, that is 9.5, and 1 inch side seam allowance, that is 10.5 inches. And I will connect. So at this point I will cut out. So this is the back dart, princess dart. Can you see? Well, this is the front pattern. Now when you are cutting it out on your fabric will have to be on fold. So on the back bodies as well, since I did not add zipper allowance, I will note it, add 1 inch zipper allowance. So that will be a reminder to me to add 1 inch zipper allowance. So this is the classic princess darts. Can you see? This is for the front pattern and this is for the back pattern. So guys, we've come to the end of today's tutorial. If this tutorial has been helpful, give this video a giant thumbs up, share, and also comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the post notification bell. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.